Hello, I think we are live. Welcome.
Hello.
These are the co-hosts for the Legendary Readathon, and we are excited to just have some reading sprints together. I haven't done reading sprints in a really long time, so this is really fun for me.
I know I haven't done any either. Yeah.
Thank you so much for hosting them, Victoria.
Oh yeah, of course. So let us know if you are here and participating, because the participation is also an entry in the giveaway, I believe, if you
Oh, yes.
are friends with us.
Yes.
So if you're here, let us know if you are here. Mandy's here.
Yay.
Yay. Hi, Mandy.
That's such a cute
probably
name.
should've.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
It is a cute name.
It always makes me think of that children's series about
Yeah.
the Detective Mandy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I remember reading those as a kid.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm curious if Mandy, have you read the Mandy books?
Yes.
They're very cute.
That must have been after my time, because I am significantly older than all of you. And I don't know, Mandy.
I don't know. I feel like they weren't massively popular, but like
Okay.
in certain sections they were. So,
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
you know.
I don't feel too bad then.
Hi, Alma, and hi, Anne. Anne has been reading a lot of Brothers Grimm, and then she's been doing retellings, and I think Rainey, you are too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I haven't gotten too far. I'm actually going to read a retelling today. Try to finish it up. So.
And I saw that Anne read The Fairest of Heart, which I read as an ARC and loved it. So that's a great one.
Nice.
Love that Snow White retelling.
Oh, I might have to look at that.
Lighting struggles, honestly.
Okay, I don't feel so bad then, Mandy. I'm right there with you. I'm 40, so.
Hi,
So what is everyone reading?
I'm going to be reading Rump by, good question, Liesl. Somebody. Liesl. I'm going to have to look it up now, because I don't know.
Is it a Rumpelstiltskin?
Yes.
retelling?
Yeah, it's a kind of middle grade, kind of probably young adult maybe. Rumpelstiltskin retelling.
Talking about it.
Yeah, that's where I first heard about it. Yeah, so what am I looking for? Where is it? Okay.
Very nice.
Liesl Shirtliff.
Yes, that one.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm almost done with it, but by almost, apparently 57%. So not almost. In my head, I think that middle grade stuff should be really, really fast. And then I'm listening to it while I'm doing things, and I'm like, there's like 30 some chapters in this book, and I'm only on 18.
Yes. Yep. Sometimes they seem a lot like they should be shorter than they are.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's like, but it's already over.
Right.
Yeah. It's the perfect medium that's hard to find sometimes.
I feel like kids' books have gotten longer. Like, obviously in the past, they were really long, and like classic children's books were really long. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, when I was a kid, they seemed like pretty short. And now they're like made for adults now, you know?
Well, there's an adult audience to read middle grade, which is
yes, exactly
something that authors have to now encounter. So
yeah.
We're all babies. That's right. we'll just go with that. They're all babies. Maybe not me.
You can be young at heart.
I have a baby.
Yeah, there you go. She has a baby.
I feel like I'm not a baby now that I have a baby, because I have to be responsible.
Yeah.
Right.
How old are the kids you watch, Naomi?
I used to watch under 3-year-olds, and now I watch 3 to 5-year-olds.
Okay.
Naomi also not a baby.
Well, I mean, I have 24 kids under 5 looking up to me for guidance, then I don't
Yeah,
feel very
I know.
babyish. I feel very old. Very tired at the end of the day.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I'm starting Twilight.
Me too.
Yay! Oh, I
Because
should have done
I
that too.
read Vampire at the beginning of the month, our group read. Has anybody else, have you guys finished Vampire?
Maybe I'll read that today.
I have found the audiobook, which I linked in my most recent wrap up. So it sounded like a really good narrator, I could tell. So I was like, I'll start it and just listen to it while I get a bit of stuff done around the house, because I was actually sick yesterday after our League House live show. So I'm I just need to get some things done. So I'll listen to Vampire while I don't know, do the dishes from yesterday kind of thing. So
Yeah, maybe I'll start with that and then go to Rump. That one's pretty short, right? Vampire?
Yeah, it took me like, I don't know, under an hour to listen to it. So.
Yeah, maybe I'll start there then.
Mandy confirms it's good on audio.
Oh, good. I have it on audio too, so good.
It's a easy to follow listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I feel like some classics are a little harder to follow, but when I remember reading it the first time, it was pretty simplistic in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but I will start Twilight after I'm done that. I am excited to try it. And I was like, I should do it live with everyone since I've never read it before.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you. I cannot wait to see what you think. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I'm a little bit sad because I got rid of my Twilight copies from high school.
I did too.
I rebought them, but I don't like this new cover. Like I want the old covers. It's the same, but they made the text of the
it's bigger or something. Yeah.
And then they split it up weird, and I'm like, I don't like that. So now I'm sad, but oh well.
Oh well. Maybe you can find them at a library book sale or something.
Yeah, I could have gone hunting for all of them, but I was just like, I'll just buy new ones. But then I was like, oh no, they're new covers. Blame. Yay! I think Christy's reading New Moon as well, or planning to.
I am.
Woo!
I have a burning question for everybody. So I'm part of this little group where we do a little book club, and this month we're reading books with a color in the title. Does Twilight count, in your opinion, for a color? Because one of the people in our book club was like, it's a color on a crayon, and I'm like, well, okay, but it's actually a shade of blue. What do you guys think? Let me know. Does it count, or do you need to find a different color book? I have tons I could pick from, but I was like, oh, it's just Two Birds with One Stone.
I feel like it's a stretch, but
it is a stretch if it is a thing. It is a stretch.
It's a thing, but okay.
I think you could argue it if you were very confident and convincing.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, they're the ones who suggested it. I'm not super worried about them being like, it's not a color. But I'm also such a stickler for doing things by the book. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Well, yeah, let me know what everyone thinks. Let me know what you guys think on there.
I will withhold judgment until the people in the comments say.
Yes.
I'm curious to know.
We got one vote.
Make it count. All right.
Yes. I need to find. Oh yeah, there it is.
Christy, what are you reading?
I have a stack of possibilities. If I'm having a bad focus day, I might just start New Moon because I can focus on that pretty easily. But I also have been really wanting to work on Cloud Cuckoo Land, which is there's a story in here called The Golden Ass, and it's like a very old story. It's like a fable. And this book is sort of built around the fable, so I feel like it kind of counts.
I think it totally does.
Yeah.
But I also really want to... I've been trying to make progress in my Joan of Arc ambitions, reading her biography and stuff.
Ooh.
But I've been having a really hard time getting into it because it doesn't start with her. It starts with, the wider significance of like the war and all these names and places in France. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who anybody is. I don't know anything about the 100 Years' War.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I might try listening to that like on audiobook and coloring or something just to get into it.
Yeah. Get invested.
We'll see.
So some options.
Yeah.
And Naomi, did I ask what you were reading?
Well, I'm gonna read The Vampire.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then I will probably start Twilight. I also really wanted to make sure I don't forget about Marnie as my femme fatale retelling. So I just wanted to make sure I don't forget about that. So I might pick that up, but it depends on if my brain is needing like an ebook or if it's like, or if it can handle physical. Because I only have Twilight as a physical, but I have Marnie as an ebook and as a physical book. So if my brain demands something, I might be just going with Marnie, but I'd like to try Twilight.
I need to see if Twilight has an audiobook.
Oh,
My
I'm
library
sure.
has like a
Yeah,
12
sure
week
it
hold.
Yeah.
My library's hold is like 12 weeks on Twilight, like
Oh.
ebook and audiobook. And I'm like, why is it so popular still?
Oh.
I don't get it.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think mine is too. I looked for it on my library, and it was like 3 months away to get it.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my
Holy
goodness.
cow.
They need to buy some more copies.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
Oh well.
I mean, it's fun and all, but
Has there been
that
like
great?
a resurgence?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Wow.
I have no
I
idea.
don't know.
It's just massively popular, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm super excited to reread it. So I think it does. I think it does stand the test of time as far as series.
Oh, heck yeah.
But I wonder how many people have a nostalgia attached to reading it, and that's why they love it.
How many are
Like-
new readers?
Yeah, because like I have a nostalgia attached to The Horse and His Boy, and I'm like fully blown up to that being a racist book. Like it has tons of racism in it.
Yes, it does.
But
Yes.
I have a nostalgia attached to it. It's my favorite Chronicles of Narnia book.
Right.
So that's never going to take it away, even though I acknowledge the problems. So I wonder if me reading it as a first time is going to be like, it's really not that good. It's just the nostalgia that people have with it.
We understand if that's the feeling that you get from it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard great things, but I've also heard like great and cringy, you know, like that kind of thing. So bad.
It's very it's very teenage angsty. Very,
Oh, I'm not going to like it.
yeah.
And I kind of knew that, but I was like, it's worth reading. I have to read
Yeah.
at least once in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
It's very
this and Stephen
interesting.
King are
Yeah.
on my to-read list for life.
Oh, cool, Alma. So you just read Twilight. Cool.
Ooh.
See, there's still new readers for Twilight. So
Yep. See.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
it kind of is now.
It is kind of.
Yep.
Some of my friends who really enjoy watching Book Talk on TikTok said one of the things that they love about it is that there's so many people who are just discovering reading again as adults. And so they're talking about it on Book Talk. All these books like Twilight and Game of Thrones and Throne of Glass and like all of these classic YA fantasies.
Huh.
Yeah.
Their enthusiasm is infectious.
Yeah.
That would be
My
fun.
researchers then.
How long do you guys want to read for this first sprint? 20 minutes? 15
Sure.
minutes?
20 works.
20 works? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good middle ground between a short sprint and a long sprint.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, 20 feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I remember how to make a banner. Let's see.
Mm.
Been a long time, hasn't it?
It has. I don't think I've hosted a StreamYard thing in like at least a year, maybe more, probably more than a year. I don't know. Let's see. Well, if we will start, let's start reading at let's see, at 118. Because that'll give me a second to figure out how to make a banner.
Okay. All right then.
18.
Guys, I'm trying to upload a video and it's telling me it's, oh no, okay, wait. It was telling me it was going to take 25 hours.
Ta-da.
Well,
No.
that's
Oh my God.
lovely.
Yeah, now it's at 3, so okay.
Oh
All right.
man.
Oh, you're not silly. You're not silly. It's not silly at all. It's
Like
fun.
I'm going camping next weekend, like this upcoming weekend, and I was like, should I bring Twilight with me to read there?
Yes.
And then I'm like, but all of these new like my cousin's boyfriends who we've never met before are coming, and I'm like, I don't want to be like giving him a bad impression. But I'm also like, but do I
Instant
care at a
judgment.
certain point? I don't know. I don't know. So
It could be a conversation starter, at least.
it would be a
That's
conversation
true.
starter for sure.
Yep.
wow.
Gosh. He may not even notice.
Well,
Yeah.
there's like 3 of them coming who've never come before.
Oh,
So it's genuinely like a bunch of new people who are like all dating coming into the family. They're like, there's one way out now, you know, right? Like, come to the camp out. There's only one way out.
Funny.
You're not locked in yet. See how this weekend goes.
Here you go. Show them your whole suitcase of books that you bring to the
There
camp.
you go.
Oh, so I have to tell you guys a funny story. So when I was camping a couple years ago, I brought 25 books with me for one weekend.
Oh
Because I was
my.
like, what if I'm in the mood for this book or that book or that book or that book? You know, the mood reader thing. My family was like, how many books did you bring? And I'm like, I know it's 4 days, but I wasn't sure what I want to read. I would just mock for a whole summer about a suitcase of books coming with me.
We all understand.
We
understand.
all do.
There's no judgment here. There's
I
judgment
know.
from other people.
None.
All
All right.
Oh no, we lost. What do you mean?
Come back.
Oh, there
She'll
she
come
is.
back. I think it just dropped. Oh, look. Oh, there she is. She's back.
Okay.
All right.
There she
Sorry,
is.
I have tech problems.
Anyways. All right. Well,
All right.
it is reading time. So,
Okay.
see you guys in 20 minutes.
Okie dokie.
I'm just gonna grab my
All
computer
right.
cord because I forgot. Then I'll be back.
All right.
Hello. How did everybody do?
Hello.
Oh, let's see. I got to chapter 2 of 3 in Vampire. So,
It's pretty quick.
yeah. I have 20 minutes left, apparently.
Oh yeah, it must only be like a 40-minute listen then.
Well, I'm listening to it at 1.5 speed. So I think it's like an hour normally. But so
The audiobook on YouTube that I'm listening to is 45 minutes.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
This one's pretty good. The narrator, he's pretty good.
that's always good.
So yeah.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yep. Definitely.
Woohoo.
Mandy's reading Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis.
Ooh, nice.
That's a
Which
great
one
one.
is that of? Which one is the retelling of?
Cupid and
The
Psyche.
Okay. I need to read more C.S. Lewis. Like, I want to read his Space Trilogy, which I know you read as a read along on your channel or something.
Mhm.
I know that. Like, I've heard good things. I just need to read it. And I've read some of his nonfiction, but I need to read more of his stuff.
Yeah, the Space Trilogy is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's very imaginative.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, it's 13 pages. Yeah, I only got through 10 pages. I'm a slow reader. But 13 pages is great.
Yes.
More than me.
That's probably about as many as I would read if I was reading physically. Because I'm a slow reader too.
Yeah, I've come to terms with it. I don't
Yep.
mind.
That's what audiobooks are for.
Mhm.
If you need to read something fast.
Yeah, I've read Till We Have Faces, but I haven't read Cupid and Psyche, the
Mhm.
original. So
I'm having a hard time finding actual, not retellings, but like a translation of actual Greek myths. I don't know why I can't seem to find them. Like everything I would check out of the library that sounded like it might have was more like a textbook type of, or like a kid's thing that like kind of talked to you about them, but it wasn't the original. Which I mean, I guess is still helpful, but but it's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, of course.
But,
That is difficult. Especially when it's like an ancient language and you're like, well, I definitely can't like just learn that for this book.
yeah. And I know when I was in high school, we did a Greek mythology unit, and we had like an anthology of a bunch of different ones, and I really enjoyed it. And now I'm like, why can't I find that? That was easy. That was easy to read, and I had everything in it, and I don't know why I can't find it now. But probably because that was the 1990s, and it's probably rotted by now. I don't know.
Sometimes it's hard to figure out. Okay, where's like the earliest thing? Because it might be part of like a larger collection, or it might be, just something you stumble across.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Something you learned about in school.
Yeah. And I don't even remember who my teacher was for that to like see if she still teaches there and could tell me like what it's called. You know?
Well, one thing that helped me was when I was trying to read more Greek things, like Greek myths and stuff. I took a class on Coursera, but you wouldn't even necessarily have to take the class. You could just see what books it recommends as reading.
Okay.
And sometimes it will give you free versions, like on the website or something.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'd have to do that. So I really want to get back into Greek mythology, but nobody is helping me.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, what are you reading, Shauna?
Oh, I guess I could read The Other Bennett Sister, but it's not from an origin story.
Well, I guess you could make
That would count.
the origin story was Jane Austen. That's, I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
at some
that's true.
point it'll be a. I mean, it's it's a classic at this point. So
Yeah, it's not going away either.
right, no.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was reading that short story collection of Agatha Christie, but I didn't end up. I just lost the motivation to read another short story. I set myself this lofty goal this year to finish all of her short stories, which there's like hundreds.
Oh,
Oh wow!
well,
And so I was like, oh, I can totally do it. And now I'm like, I don't want to read another short story for a while. But I still finished them all this year. So
I'm in the middle of my first Agatha Christie. I'm like 60. I think I'm 60% through of the Mysterious Affair at Styles.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
It's really fun, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I've never read Agatha Christie before this. It's really fun.
There's so many.
that's a good one. It's not her best, but it's obviously her first. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay, Janelle, influencing us still.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Hi, Lou. Thanks for joining us. I read 10 pages of Twilight, and the angst is strong already.
Oh yes, it is so strong.
Page one.
It's strong. I think it's so funny that she's like, oh, I'm gonna go live with my dad, but I hate it there, but I'm making myself go live with my dad for some reason. And it's just why though?
Yeah, why?
And she's like, I'm gonna cry myself to sleep because I'm living with my dad now. And I'm like, you did this to yourself.
No one forced you to go.
Also not like 8. She still has some power over her own autonomy.
Yeah, and her mom says at the beginning, like, you don't have to go, like, you can stay here, it's fine. And she's like, no, I'm going. I love it. The angst is tangible.
Oh man. I just remember, I remember reading the books, but watching the movies, and I can't remember the girl's name, Kristen something, and just how she never smiled, like the whole way through. Like, even when she was happy, no smiling.
Yeah.
Like, interesting choice. Okay, I did it for for part of it, but oh. That was always what I looked for in all those movies. Like, is Bella gonna smile today? Probably not. I don't think I ever saw the last movie. I should probably watch it. I think I thought it would be too gross for me.
Yeah, it has some things that happen.
But yeah, I read the book and I was
rather
like,
graphic.
yeah, I was a little grossed out by the book, and I don't normally get too grossed out by books. So I was like, yeah, if this is gross, I don't think I want to actually see it.
I remember that scene in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's a little bit
Okay.
gnarly.
Okay. I'm not gonna knock myself out to see it. Not then.
I mean, we are going to do a watch along of the first movie at least. So
Well,
if you want, we can keep going.
No.
We're not doing it all night long, okay? So I have work the next day.
Yes.
That might be a little too much angst for us if we tried to watch like 4 movies in the span of like 24 hours. I think we might all go crazy.
I did that with Lord of the Rings when I was in college. I watched all back to back the Lord of the Rings extended versions, and like we had a break for food, but it was actually one of the first times that Julio and I hung out. It was it was with him and some friends, and it was really fun, but it was something that I probably could never replicate again.
I was a youth group leader, and we were like, well, let's watch Lord of the Rings with the kids. So we gave them the choice, stupid adults that we were, to watch the normal or extended. And so they, of course, chose the extended. So we were stuck there for like 12 hours, however many hours at the church watching Lord of the Rings. And it was like, why did we even give them the option?
Yeah.
We were the adults here. We could have chosen to just watch the normal ones.
We did that at a youth group party as well, like a New Year's party. So we had them all playing throughout the whole night, and Kevin was the youth leader at that meeting.
Fun.
The only time I think I've ever sat for a long time to watch a movie was the Pride and Prejudice 6-hour one.
Oh,
but I did that a lot. But I don't think I ever watched all of the Lord of the Rings back to back, because I actually started with the Two Towers. That was the first of the movies I'd ever watched, and I really had never read the books either, and I was like, what am I watching? Like,
That's not a good part to come in on if you don't know anything.
The Two Towers kind of drops you in the middle. And so that would be, it doesn't really help you out at the beginning. So that would be confusing.
I was not a fan for a while. I had to be like coerced into watching the rest of them. And like this is actually good. Like you shouldn't have started with Two Towers.
That was the wrong choice.
Yeah. I don't know why I did. I think just people I was with were like, let's watch Two Towers. I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. I think I left about partway through.
It's an experience that you can't describe unless you do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed.
Oh gosh.
Just don't do The Hobbit, all 3 movies, and then all 3 Lord of the Rings movies, all extended editions in a row, because you're just going to kill yourself.
How long would that would take? Like a full.
That would probably take 20 hours.
Wow.
So
that's too much.
Brayden, have you read Lord of the Rings?
Oh yeah, I've read it. Yeah, but I don't know if it was after I'd watched the movies. I don't think so. I think I watched the Two Towers first in college, and then I was in a class that was like fantasy. It was called fantasy literature, and
cool.
And the professor gave us the syllabus ahead of time, but it was like a really jam-packed syllabus. But he was like, "Oh, this should be like rereading for most of you. All of you have probably read all these books." And I'm looking at it like, I've read none of these. I don't know. It's like, what is The Hobbit? What is Lord of the Rings? I mean, I knew what they were, but I was just like, and then Harry Potter. They had us reading a couple of Harry Potter, and I was like, I've never read that either. I don't.
I didn't read Harry Potter till I was like 18 or 19. So yeah. Well, a lot of people in my age group are like, "Oh, I grew up with Harry Potter. Like, I went to all the midnight like book releases and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, I missed all that." But But I have been reading them later.
The only one that I think that I actually read or bought and read the day it came out was the last one, because I don't know, at that point I think I was either at the end of college or had graduated, but I had a friend that had been letting me borrow all the books after he and his whole family had read them, and which was fine because they were like old at that point, but then the last one came out and he's like, well, I have to read this first and my whole family has to read it first. I'm like, well, now I got to know what happens. So now I got to buy the stinking book. So for the longest time, I only ever had, what was it called? The Deathly Hallows. Yeah. I just always had that one on my shelf.
That's funny. Do you own them all now?
No, I don't own any of them now, because I was, at some point, I was like, why do I just have this one book? I'm just going to get rid of this. Because, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I probably gave it to somebody who was trying to collect them, but I do kind of want to get that.
We have some people that haven't read Lord of the Rings yet, so do it.
Yeah, do it.
Well, Victoria and I read it together.
That's right.
We read Lord of the Rings together.
We did, that's right.
Nice.
And I remember just blitzing through on audio. Like, because I was packing up my room at the time I was moving. So I was just like packing up stuff and just listening and blitzing through. But it was, I mean, it was really great to read and talk with someone because I feel like Lord of the Rings was so dense at parts that it was good to just stop and be like, okay, here's my thoughts, and then be like, oh, and now I'm getting more interested because someone else has thoughts, and how we talk about books with people.
The fandom is a huge part of why it's fun.
Oh yeah.
I had a friend when I was reading it. We were both in 4th grade, and both of our parents were reading it to us, and so we were both big fans. And the movies were coming out like around that time, so we would go to the movies together, and that was why it was fun because we were doing it together.
Yes, super fun. Naomi, how did you do in the sprint? I didn't ask you.
I just listened to the audiobook, so I don't know how far in I am. I'm decently into the audiobook, but honestly, it's like a 45-minute audiobook. I'm at like minute 20, so I'll finish it pretty quickly. Yeah, I don't know. It's a reread for me. I've read The Vampire before, so
oh really? I didn't realize that.
I read it. I think I read it for Jane Austen July because it's written in the same era.
Okay.
I think I read it during that time. Yeah.
What's one?
It's not a typical Jane Austen July book, but it's a contemporary book.
Very different.
As is Frankenstein, but yeah. So no, it's been interesting to read it again. So it's a good narrator that I have, so that's always a plus. And yeah, hopefully I'll finish it quick, and then I can get into Twilight and see how that goes.
I bet you'll finish it in this next sprint that we do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the thing with audiobooks is they slow me down because I'm the opposite of you guys, where I'm such a fast reader.
You're really fast, yeah.
That if I'm listening to an audio, I can't speed up. I can speed up the audiobook, but I would probably finish it in 10 minutes as opposed to 25 from the audiobook. So it's just a slower process, but that's fine. That's a good way to read some books.
Yep.
Christy, what did you land on? What are you reading?
I listened to 3% of Joan of Arc or something. So I'm 8% through the audiobook, and I feel like I'm starting to get a handle on it. I read an Encyclopedia Britannica article on the 100 Years' War, and that helped a little bit because it kind of picked out the most important names,
Yeah.
It's still a bit overwhelming, but I think I'm going to be okay. I'm going to
Yay.
Yeah. And
do you have a physical copy too, or are you listening?
I have an ebook copy as well. Okay. So after I get to the point where actually they're talking about Joan, then I'll go back and reread what I've listened to to try and get my head around the different people mentioned.
I feel like nonfiction can be so hard when you have 10 million people you're keeping track of.
I don't really like how she drops us into the story. I wish she had started with Joan because that would have been easier to follow. I would have known, okay, who's the main character here? Joan. But it's only 8 hours, so it can't be a huge book. So that helps as well, knowing it's not going to be a 30-hour audiobook or something.
I was going to read the Mort de Arthur for this. And I looked at the audiobook, 38 hours. I'm like, yeah, no, we're not gonna. No,
not this month.
Not this month.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be our theme next year.
Yeah, there you go.
Arthur Legends.
Yeah.
We can read it all year just to work up to it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, I have some medieval poetry, which I think is kind of Arthurian in style. I found them at a library sale, so I was like, I'm just grabbing all the poetry I can. It just happens to be 1,100 poetry. I'm like, that's even nicer.
Wow.
Do you guys want to read for 20 minutes again, or would you like to do longer, shorter?
I can do 20. I'm apparently at 20 minutes from finishing this book, so I could do 20.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. 20 minutes it is.
Okie dokie.
We will start on the hour.
Okay.
Let's do that.
All right.
Lou, you're in good company. There are lots of slow readers on here.
Yes.
I'm the anomaly, and I
Yeah.
I don't know how to change myself. But
You don't need to change yourself.
Oh yeah, be yourself. That's awesome.
it's just
Yeah,
funny.
we're
People are
all
like,
jealous.
you read how fast? It's
Yeah,
like
we're
I
jealous,
don't know
yeah.
why. I don't know why.
Just really
No,
fast.
I mean, if you retain as well, you're a fast reader and you retain what you're reading, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yep.
typically retain enough. I couldn't quote anything, but I can retain the storyline and character names.
Yeah. Well, I'm a slow reader and I can't quote anything usually. So.
Yeah, that's the club I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nice thing about reading fast is, if you want to go back and revisit it, you can, because you know you'll
Yes.
actually be able to just blitz it out, like you were talking about. So
Yeah.
you can always review if there's something you want to remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes I don't remember anything, and that's okay. I was reading a book for my book club called The Elegance of the Hedgehog, which
Oh yes. Oh.
we
gosh.
hated that book, but no one finished it but me. And I literally just had an ebook and I just kept swiping up. And that's all. And I just was like, I don't understand the words coming in, but I'm just
Nope.
going to keep swiping. And eventually I'll get to the end and maybe I'll remember something. So I was fast reading,
Oh.
but really just skim reading.
My
Yeah,
neighbor
well,
gave me that.
if you're not enjoying it, then yeah, then
Well, our book club has a scale now of best to worst, and the worst is Elegance of the Hedgehog since only one person finished it. So we're like, what is this on our scale? It is
Yeah, that was
bad
a-
hedgehog.
It was not about a hedgehog. I was real disappointed.
Yeah,
I've
we
never
all
even
were.
heard of it.
It's
And
not
it's
worth
a French
put
book.
it out of your head. It's not worth
Well, I've heard if you are from France, then you
Oh,
would
well,
enjoy
yes.
it. It is a book that we decided was best not translated, but it was.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's
Yes.
very much cultural, and if you're from there, you'll get it, and if not, you won't. So
Right. Exactly.
they shouldn't have translated it, is what the point was.
Mm.
Oh
Neighbor
gosh.
who gave that to me and was like, "Yeah, this is like my favorite book that I read this year," and
Thanks.
she gave it to me. And when I told her what I really thought of it, which was, I didn't like it at all. Her feelings got hurt. I was like,
Aw.
"Oh,
No.
I'm sorry. I forgot not everybody's a book reviewer."
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. Reading time?
Reading time.
time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hello? Was everyone getting really invested?
Has it already been 20 minutes?
Yep.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was almost done with chapter 1, but I
Sorry to
did.
interrupt chapter 1.
No, it's okay. Did you finish Vampire?
Yep, I did.
Nice.
Go and go. You've already finished so many things for Legendary Readathon.
Not really. They were all very, very short. So, I'm still working on Rump. All the retellings I'm still working on, so I don't know.
They
There's
tend to be longer.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I liked it. It was very short story-esque, but very like just everything happened rapid fire. And it was kind of like, wait, what? Why are we here already? What happened?
Yeah.
So the pacing was a little bit weird, but yeah, but overall it was a solid vampire story. I enjoyed it. So
The OG.
yep.
I heard it was modeled after Byron and his behavior. So that's interesting.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Subscriber told me that, and I thought that makes sense.
I enjoyed it more this time than last time. I think it was the audiobook narrator that I enjoyed more. So
Yeah.
it was good.
I'll have to listen to that one then, the one that you read, Amy.
Yeah, I think he's just a YouTube channel that reads short stories.
Okay.
That's just,
I think
Sometimes
that's the
they're
one
the
I
best.
listened to.
yeah.
Okay.
I listened to that one as well. It was well done.
Yeah. And I started Twilight because I had like a few minutes left. So I
Oh
started.
yay!
Nice.
Yeah, it's interesting so far. We'll see. I got to page 11,
Okay.
12. So really not far in, but I've started.
Yay.
I'm gonna have to
You
see if I can find
feel-
any book.
But you feel the angst.
Oh yes.
It's hard not to. It's pretty right out there on the page.
Yeah, exactly. She's already in the car on the wet day. Like, yeah, well, you're setting the mood.
Yes,
Yep.
it's a mood. Actually, I think Dia
Yeah.
just went to
You
Forks,
just went there,
Yep.
yeah.
and I was like, "Wait, is that the same Forks like Twilight Forks?" And it is.
Mhm.
in
And she
Washington.
went to La Push. Like, I was like, oh
Yep.
my gosh.
Well, I'm totally Team Jacob. Ugh.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm Team
yeah.
Jacob all the way.
Wow.
Oh.
I was like never Team Jacob because
Yep.
Bella was never Team Jacob. So I was
Yeah.
always like, what choice is here? She chose Edward. I never got that.
Silly love triangles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wasn't much of a love triangle, we'll be honest, but but just Jacob infinitely better.
I know. It's very
Especially
frustrating.
yeah, especially movie Jacob. Ooh, my. I was part of one of the movie theaters where when Jacob grows up and the minute he takes his shirt off, everyone in the theater, like probably from my age up, audibly gasped in the
Yeah. Yeah,
We're
I
like,
went to the midnight showings of the first couple movies, I think, and yeah, I remember that for the new moon
Yeah.
moments where the whole audience, the whole theater just goes like, "Whoa!" Quite funny.
every mom that was in the theater that day with me, like we all, I mean, I'm not a mom, but we all gasped and then we just started laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the kids there were like, ew.
Uh-huh.
It was so funny. We just, the whole rest of the movie, you would just hear chuckles throughout the rest of the movie because they were remembering, like,
Yeah.
We're gonna have to watch more than the first movie.
At least through New Moon.
Yeah.
Yes.
New Moon's where it gets good.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion.
I really like New Moon as well.
Same.
Oh
Talk
man.
about angst.
Yeah. I don't think the angst ever really gets better in that movie. She's in that series, I mean.
Yay. Team Jacob.
Yay.
Oh,
Oh.
how did everybody else do?
We got off track.
We finished Vampire.
Yeah.
How's yours going, Christy? Oh, you're busy. You're cleaning.
Muted. Yeah, sorry. I was flipping my potatoes.
What are you cooking?
I'm air frying a potato. I just was sitting there like, I think my body is not happy today, so I have no energy. So I was like,
Oh,
I think I need a potato.
Hey, there are carb days where you just need carbs, and that's never a bad thing.
Yep.
Exactly.
Even people on keto say you're allowed to have a carb day.
Yes. I really do need them sometimes.
Yep.
Julio was on keto for a while.
Yeah, I did too for a while. It's good, but it wasn't sustainable to somebody who likes to go to breweries. So that's kind of a no-no. Yeah.
Yeah, Julio lost a bunch of weight on keto, but it just wasn't sustainable for us in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. It is like if you're just gonna eat at home, and I mean it's just meat, cheese, basically. So even when you go out, just like don't get the bun or whatever and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like any kind of like alcohol or anything that has any kind of carbs in it, you're like, oh well.
It takes a lot of discipline to stick on that diet long term.
Yeah.
Some people do, and props to them because it's hard.
Yeah. I did it for about 3 months one time, the first time, and lost a bunch of weight. Then I tried it again a few months later, and I was only able to do it for like a month before I was like, why is this so hard this time? But, oh well.
Lou says she loves vampires but doesn't think they should sparkle.
Everything should sparkle.
I always kind of liked that touch. I was like, she's really making it her own here with the
yeah,
she did. It's a very trademark Stephanie Meyer.
Yep. Yeah, people when they would get, I mean, I get like, okay, traditional vampires do not sparkle, but like when people would kind of get mad about that and like she was taking so many liberties with it, I was like, yeah, but she's just like doing her own thing, like it doesn't, not everything has to be like
by the book.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I just remember that in the movie, like the effect that they tried to do to make them look sparkly, it made them look kind of sweaty. Like I was like, they look kind of bubbly, like they have a little bit of moisture. Like it's kind of gross. So they probably would have better effects if they redid the movies now, but
probably, yeah.
I was like,
I thought I heard that when she started writing Twilight, she realized it was about vampires. Like she didn't realize it at first.
Oh.
Because technically it's a Pride and Prejudice retelling. Like she was just writing. And so when she started writing and then realized it was vampires, she didn't read anything vampires to purposefully avoid any influence they might have.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Like, you know what? Yeah, I've heard that too, actually. Yeah.
Just like, okay, you've got it really far from any common knowledge.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Oh yay! 15 pages is really good, Mandy.
Nice. Oh good. I'm gonna have to read that.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've read it, but I remember really enjoying it.
No. Was that on your TBR, Victoria? I feel like I saw it on somebody's.
Oh, there was someone else reading Till We Have Faces, I thought too. don't remember.
Can't remember who it was now because I remember thinking, "Oh, I didn't know that was a Cupid and Psyche retelling." So, I'll do that.
I thought about it, but
Hmm.
I ended up picking a different Greek
Okay.
myth. I'm gonna do Theseus, Life of Theseus, and then read Ariadne, which is
Okay.
a retelling of like her story involving Theseus.
Mhm.
So that's the Greek myth and retelling I'm gonna do. I thought
Okay.
about rereading Till We Have Faces, but I don't remember why I decided. I think because I wanted to read my Book of the Month books and I had Ariadne,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, that makes sense. So
Right.
You
No.
already had one there.
Yep.
and I really need to read the books that I own that I haven't read. Although I will reread. I love to reread, and it's my downfall sometimes because I just reread rather than read the new books that I have.
Book of the Month is now here in Canada, and I'm like, that sounds wonderful, but I don't think I'd actually ever read them when they
I have
arrive.
a pile. I
And
have
so-
I have a cart.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
That's all unread Book of the Months on my
Oh
cart.
my.
And that's everyone's problem. So I'm like, I don't think I'd be any better.
Yep.
So I'm not going to even put out that kind of money for just getting more books that are sitting there doing nothing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have an addiction to getting them and being optimistic about like I'm gonna read it this month, and then that happens.
Yeah, I'm the
But I
same way
still
with
have a
any new book I
subscription.
get. Sorry,
Yay,
reading at the same
rereaders!
time.
Yeah, I love rereading.
Nothing like rereading.
hmm
Although my rereads are typically like, oh, I really want to reread that book that's like 500 pages. It's like, but I really shouldn't, and I still do. And I'm like, I could have read an actual book or two within that time, but I had to reread a giant book.
I always want to reread, but then I feel guilty about not reading. Yeah, something I've never read before. So,
Yeah, same.
yeah.
Same.
Every Jane Austen
really-
July, that's my problem. I'm
Yeah.
like, I've read this book like 6 times. I should just not read this anymore.
Yeah, me too.
Oh. Sadly, I was in a reading slump this Jane Austen July, so I think I only read Northanger Abbey for Jane Austen July, and I was like, I had so many like retellings I wanted to read.
At least you did that. I wanted to reread Northanger Abbey, and I didn't end up reading any Jane Austen. And it's like the first time in years that I haven't actually participated in Jane Austen July. It was an accident.
Yeah.
It was not on purpose.
It happens. It'll be next year too, probably. So.
Yeah. So, there's always next year.
Yep. We don't
feel
have
like
to wait.
As much as I love reading Jane Austen stuff, I'm a rebel when it comes to July. Because I'm like, you're telling me to read it, so I'm not going to. Like, that's what my attitude is. And it's just so dumb. And I'm like, I don't have to. I know it. But then inside, I'm like, but everyone's doing Jane Austen stuff, so I must read Jane Austen in July. I have to read the retellings in July, and I have to. And I'm just like, and then my little rebellious streak comes in and says, no, you don't. And like in October, I'll be like, oh, read Victorian books. And then I'll be like, no, I don't want to because they're Victorian novels. But I'll read them every other month of the year if I wanted to. I just become a little rebel when I'm told what to read and when. So, I did read some Jane Austen books, but not really.
Yeah.
My rebellious streak kicked in about week 2, so I was like, all right.
This explains a lot about last year's readathon, Faugust.
Oh yeah, August.
Which is what we should have called it.
Yeah, that would have been
when
good.
you did Faust.
Yeah.
August. That's funny.
That would have been a great name for it.
Oh well.
That explains why you got tired of it, Naomi.
Yeah. I'm a rule follower, and then let me do a quick pivot the other way. I mean, like, no. I don't get it. But I live with it.
I actually, Lou, I read it physically this time, and listened to the audiobook towards the end of the month, but I like was tabbing my physical copy, and I read it very slowly. Like it took me all month to read it basically, and I enjoyed it a lot more, and it's like one of my favorites now. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
I read it as well, but it's never going to be my favorite, Jane Austen. It's never going to be my favorite, but it was better than I remembered. So I think every time it gets better. Like, all the books get better every time.
What's your favorite, Naomi?
Persuasion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if you're going to go with novels, Persuasion. Jane Austen works, Lady Susan.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I have not read Lady Susan. I still need to.
YouTube keeps recommending me your video about that, Naomi. I need to watch it.
It's my favorite Jane Austen work. So even better than her novels. Persuasion's my favorite novel.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
How's your potato?
Good.
Potatoey. Yeah, I also if I do reread, I try to actually make it an audiobook so that I have like a physical book new that I'm reading.
Yeah.
Because it is easier to track when you're listening to something you've already read. I just take it in better.
Yeah.
It's so true. She's deliciously awful.
She sounds like a fun character to follow.
She's
the wicked
indescribable in some ways. She's definitely a villain, but also kind of a hero, and she's great.
Yeah, I think Kaylee also is a big fan of Lady Susan from Luminous Libro.
Oh yeah,
she's talked positively about Lady Susan.
Yeah, I think I've only read that one once, so maybe that'll be next Jane Austen July. I'll reread Lady Susan.
We should read it together because
okay. Well, I'll put it on my list and I'll remind you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I really need to reread Sense and Sensibility.
Yes.
I love that one.
Young.
I love that one.
Sense and Sensibility. It might be my second favorite Jane Austen. It's like for me, it's Pride and Prejudice, and then Sense and Sensibility. I don't know if I've ever actually ranked them. So I have to think about that a little bit. But I think those two might be my favorite.
I thought you did. Now I need to see. I feel like
you
made it.
Did I? Have I ranked them?
Maybe I'm misremembering them.
I think I ranked them last year.
I ranked them years ago, and I feel like my order has changed.
Yeah, mine too.
I really didn't like Emma compared to the others.
Okay.
And then I reread Emma, and so when I first read Emma, I was like, oh, Mr. Knightley, he's so annoying. He's just so smug and arrogant. And then as I read it as like a 30-year-old, I'm like, oh, he just has life experience, so he's right.
Yeah. Right.
It wasn't like he was a jerk. Like I originally was like, oh, he's just so, I'm better than you. And now I'm like, oh no, he just, has lived 38 years. He knows what he's going on.
Yeah.
So it very much changed in my opinion. So I don't know where it would go now in the ranking. I do need to reread Mansfield Park pretty soon. That's my next one I have to reread. Because the rest I read in the last 2 years.
I want to give Mansfield Park another try because I think it might rank higher for me on a reread. It was towards the bottom for me, I think, after reading it for the first time. But I have a feeling that's one that's going to grow on me over time.
You have to read that one slow because there's so much depth to it. It has to be read slow.
Yeah.
Read too fast, it's boring.
Yeah, I might have been on like a time crunch with it and I was trying to finish it quickly. And and it's a long one too. So I might have gotten a little bit stressed while reading it. That will affect my opinion sometimes if I get stressed.
Yeah, I just bought the physical copy of that one this year, and I pulled it out, and I totally forgot it was one of the longest one. I don't know. So I pull it out of the Amazon package. I'm like, holy cow! Are there like 2 books in here?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wait, no, this is Mansfield Park. I forgot.
Yeah, it's quite a bit longer than the other ones.
Yeah.
Emma's pretty long too.
Yeah.
I think Emma's the longest technically.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I remember Emma being pretty long.
Yeah. I thought it was too, actually, But then I pulled that book out and I was like, no, this looks longer, but maybe there's just like some additional stuff in it or something.
Yeah.
I think they're just all good, and it's hard to rank
they're all
them.
good.
Yeah.
None of them are bad,
Right.
but there are some better than others.
Yeah.
I also need to reread Persuasion because I had a lot of like, it was like when I was in my first semester of pregnancy and I had a lot of like morning sickness and I just felt sick all the time. And I remember like reading Persuasion at that time and like anything I read around that time, I just like felt sick and I think I just didn't like anything.
Makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So under better circumstances, I need to revisit Persuasion.
Yes.
So I'm good for one more sprint, but then I have to get going. If you guys
me too.
No, that sounds great to me.
It's around dinner time for me, so I better go soon. But I'll listen
So you want
to
to
some
do like
rump.
15 minutes? So we're done by like 3 o'clock
3?
PST or?
Yeah.
Sure.
That'll work.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do 2:45. Or 45 for 15 minutes.
Excellent.
Yay, this was so fun, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't done reading sprints in a while.
I know. I have not participated in any in a long time. This was really fun.
Yeah.
So what are you reading now, Rainey?
I think I'll go to Rump, the Rumpelstiltskin retelling, because I'm 57% through, so at least I'll get a little bit read.
Yeah.
So, what are you reading?
I'll continue with Twilight, see how far I get in 15
Twilight.
minutes.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yay. You're probably going to pass me up where I am.
I mean, I read like 12 pages in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'll probably hit 75 pages.
That's insane.
It took me 20 minutes to read 10 pages, so
I don't know.
You're going to pass me.
We'll see.
We need to do an analysis of how Naomi reads.
The worst thing about reading sprints is that it's like you can see how fast I read when I actually have a book and I just how fast I flip pages. I always feel like I'm being watched. My family would do that to me growing up, being like, "Are you actually reading?"
You?
Yes.
Thanks, Mandy, for joining.
Thanks, Mandy.
Yes.
Oh, man. I gotta cue it up. Let's see. I'm actually letting Talk to Text read this to me.
Nice. I do that a lot too.
Yeah. It's not quite the same sometimes, but it works.
It's so helpful.
Yeah.
I feel like you can follow along with it really easily that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Sometimes with like nonfiction books, when they put like what's the like little numbers and stuff in the middle of it, and the Kindle will read that, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are they talking about?
Well, I heard Crazy Rich Asians is a horrible book to read on audio.
Oh,
Crazy Rich Asians, the series, is fantastic. I love it. But it's covered in footnotes. Like one time, I think it's the last book, but it's like there's a footnote, and then it's like if you assumed this character didn't wash his hands, you were correct. So it's like pointless information. Adds more humor to the actual characters themselves, but it will interrupt you when you listen to it. So I'm like, never listen to Crazy Rich Asians because it has footnotes and it will do that to you. But it's a fantastic book series.
I don't remember how I read that book, but I remember hate reading it. So it is not my favorite.
Oh, it's a satire. I love satires.
I did not enjoy it. There was a review of that on my channel that was like not complimentary.
It's just everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah, and it might have just been the time in my life.
Stream.
Yeah. Yep.
It's good.
Oh,
it's reading
right.
time.
Reading time.
All right.
Okay.
Hello again. Oh man, Bella is she's so rude.
She is.
She is.
She's like,
kind of the worst.
it's not something I noticed like when I read it as a teenager myself, but
Yeah.
like now reading it, I'm like, man, like everyone who is trying to help her is like the new kid at school, and she's like judging everyone in her mind like so harshly. I'm like, you're so mean.
She really is.
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, this is like everyone's being nice to you, and she's like, ugh, this is awful.
I just don't get why, like, she's the popular kid. Yeah, she's new, but why is she, like, the cool one? I don't get it.
She's like cool and mysterious.
Yeah, and someone who's very rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so rude to the people who are like just being nice, and she's like, I can't remember anyone's name. Like these people that
Fair.
I met with. Like, what's your name?
It's a good thing Edward can't read her mind because he might not have liked her.
True.
Very lucky that regard.
She's so judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to start that book this week so I can remember. I mean, I'm remembering it as you're talking, but
Yeah.
It's still fun. It's still fun to read.
Oh yeah. I think you just have to take it with a grain of salt that these were 90s angsty kids. And we are
early. It's the early
Is it?
2000s maybe.
early 2000s. Yeah.
Well, like, her favorite book is Wuthering Heights. I'm like, yeah, of course you like a book where a guy's really abusive and locks someone in a castle and doesn't let him free.
Uh-huh.
Of course that's your favorite book.
Yeah. Shocking.
It's gonna be such a healthy relationship for you. I can tell.
Yeah, I forgot that also that like she's also read everything, and she's like, I'll just reread Wuthering Heights for the millionth time, and then she looks at her English her like English class stuff that they're gonna read. She's like, it's the normal stuff: Shakespeare, Chaucer, Faulkner. I've read it all. I'm like,
That's
you're
awesome.
like what 16 or something? Like, there's no way you've read all of that. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh.
Oh man,
Well, I got to page 65, so I got pretty far.
dang.
The car accident just happened. So
Oh, okay.
I'm on page 30.
she's demanding
Yeah,
answers that he's not giving.
He's surpassed me.
Did you catch the or I mean, you probably have already read it, but the sentence where it's like, "There's no one's gonna bite me here."
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, I know, it's funny to see those little like foreshadowing. Like, it's fine. No one's gonna bite me.
That's hilarious.
Actually.
I never thought about that one. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
How'd you do, Christy?
I'm still on like page 1 of this biography, but I'm highlighting all the. This is what I'm telling you. Like, it takes me so long because I have to highlight all the names and get them really locked in my head. So I'm working on it. But I did start listening to New Moon while I was preparing my potato, so I made a little.
That's good.
Well, that's how I would read a biography with a lot of historical background as well. Like,
Yeah.
if you really want to know what's going on, you have to do close reading.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll just help me remember it, and I think I'll go faster once I know all the figures involved.
Mm.
Well, there's
Maybe.
a lot of figures in that time period of history, so hopefully
Yep.
it's not too long.
There's like so many kings and princes and like important cousins randomly, and I don't know, peasants. I mean, there's Joan. She wasn't a princess, but look how important she. I mean, I don't know. History is weird. It's not like a novel where it's like there's like probably 3 people, and as long as you can keep track of those 3 people, you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
But history's not like that.
Yeah.
Very true.
Unless you're reading Dickens, then you have 25 characters. that
Yes.
keep track of.
Yeah.
And about
What
five
do you mean
storylines.
25? It's like 100.
I haven't actually counted how many in Bleak House, but
There's more than 25. I'll
More than
guarantee you
25.
that much.
I didn't join you guys in Bleak House. I should have. Every time I see you guys reading it, I'm like, I should have done that. But
Have you
but
read
I'm
it
also
before?
no, I never have. But I'm like slowly trying to read through all of the Dickens, and I was going to participate in Katie from Books and Things, her read along of all of them, and I think I did like one in the order that she
I did
did
too.
it.
I did too.
Yeah. And then I just like dropped off, and I was like, whatever. I'll get to them when
Yeah.
I get to them.
Yeah.
No, me too. I read
Yeah.
Pickwick Papers and Oliver Twist, and then I fell off the wagon.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'm glad I read Pickwick Papers because that was something I hadn't read before. But
Mhm.
you know,
And that's a really long one too. Pickwick Papers is quite long.
yeah. Yep.
But we're
Maybe
not
next we'll have
alone.
to do an Agatha Christie per month read along. And everyone can just read an Agatha Christie. Those are a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
there
was
you go.
thinking of that when you were talking of her earlier. I was like, okay, that would be a fun author to do like a monthly, like a book a month of her would be fun.
It'd be fun until you got to the end.
Are they not as good at the end?
Well, she wrote like 70 novels,
Yeah.
70 mystery novels, and all of them are from the same brain over like the span of like 60 years or less. She's going to reuse plot points. She's going to reuse ideas.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't come out as great in her later years. And it's no one's fault. It's just the fact that she's getting older and that she had so many
Yeah.
Right.
storylines.
Yep.
So like, I don't know. I just Cat Among the Pigeons. People are like, oh, it's good. I'm like, it's not. It's the man in the black and brown suit redone.
Oh.
But it's such a later one. So
Yeah.
that's just my personal opinion on it. I don't know.
I guess
Yeah.
people wouldn't notice unless you're very well read in Agatha Christie because she has so many. So I'm sure like there must be a lot of repetition at some point, but
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't notice that unless you're like a true Agatha Christie scholar, like we have in this group here. I think Naomi, you've read a lot.
I have not read all of her work yet. I think I have 6 left. And then
Oh,
I'm
wow.
good.
That's a lot,
Well, from her
though.
novels.
Yeah.
So,
You've read a lot.
I've read a lot. It's been my mission for a few years now. So,
Nice.
but maybe we will have to do that next year. 2024, maybe we'll do one Agatha Christie book a month.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That would be cool.
Let's do it.
Okay. That's
You guys
another
are
thing.
joining
we
on
have
for
to
like
look
a
at.
couple year project if you agree to this.
Yeah.
Because it's
That's
like 70 books.
But I feel like it would be okay because Agatha Christie, she's somebody that I started reading because I literally couldn't sleep. I had so much trouble sleeping. But her books were like relaxing enough that I could literally just be laying in bed in the dark and whip out my Kindle and start reading. And I would get so relaxed that I'd actually be able to fall asleep. So she's a comfort author for me.
She's so rereadable, like Lou said. She's just so rereadable. And
Mhm.
honestly, when it comes to like comfort reads, I'll put on an audiobook of hers and that's my thing. But
Yes.
yeah, I have a few left I need to get to, and then I'll be done her Agatha Christie works. So
Nice.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know. Feels like it's more of an accomplishment than Dickens, but Dickens would be more of an accomplishment for me because I don't like it so much of Agatha Christie. But yeah.
You guys want to plan on doing an Agatha Christie read along in 2024?
Sure.
I'd be down to do. Yeah, I'd be down to do something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You want to?
Yes.
I will also warn people that it's not all mysteries. She wrote like spy espionage books.
Ooh.
And
That
People,
sounds fun.
people typically don't like them
Oh,
Oh.
really?
Whoa,
because they
okay.
expect a cozy mystery, and it's like,
Different.
but you're gonna get a book where spies and espionage and Nazis and crazy Cold War stuff happens, and you're like, just don't expect it all to be cozy mysteries. Not all that way. Those are my favorite though, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Me too. Okay, we'll have to
after we should talk in our Legendary Readathon chat about how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I like it.
Yay!
Yeah, I agree. Tommy and Tuppence, not so great. Their first couple are good. That's about it for me. What's a good one to start with? And Then There Were None is always a classic.
Mhm.
I think Murder on the Orient Express is good, but I don't think it's a great starting point because it kind of is a slow build. But A Mysterious Affair at Styles is a great one to start with.
Yeah, that's the one I'm starting with, and I think it's going well. So
Yeah, I think that's the one I started with.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Miss
so.
Marple's always good too. Like The Body in the Library, that's a short Miss Marple one, but that's a pretty good mystery one too.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's so many good ones.
Yeah. Since you've read so many of them, you'll be able to help inform which
Yes.
ones should we pick.
Yeah, it's hard because there's so many that I love. But I also know like one of people's most hated Agatha Christie books is A Passenger to Frankfurt. Everyone hates that book. It is universally declared the worst Agatha Christie book of all time, and I enjoy it.
oh.
It's one of those espionage books with Nazis, and no one is like, no one wanted that when they read it. But it's like, but that's what you're getting, so buckle in.
I would want that.
Yeah. Oh, Murder at the Vicarage. Yeah, that's a good one too. That's the first Miss Marple.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're looking for a spy espionage one, try Destination Unknown. That one is, you don't know where that book's going. I literally can't tell you where that book goes.
Unknown.
It is so true to the title, honestly. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. Well, I do have the Agatha Christie readathon that happens in December. So
Oh yeah, that's
if
right.
anyone's wanting to book it up then, or plan to read some Agatha Christie's in December. I don't know what our prompts are yet or what we're doing. We have to still figure that out with my co-hosts, but that'll be happening again. So
Cool.
We can get a start on it, and then whatever we don't read for that.
Yes.
I think I'll be advocating for a short story or two to be one of the prompts, or a play to be one of the prompts.
Oh, yeah.
Because she did write some plays, but
Oh wow. She was extremely prolific. I didn't realize how much she'd written.
well, when she wrote plays, it was because people were turning her books into plays, and she didn't like the way they were doing it, so she decided to just do it.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, The Man in the Brown Suit's a great one too. That's a pretty good one, and pretty early. I think it's her third book.
Mm.
So, well, we'll make some plans for next year.
Yay.
Will we remember this stuff?
I don't know. I do plan on restarting again, so that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I guess we all have places to go.
Yeah, I gotta
Yes,
eat some
yes.
food.
Thank you all for joining in to our sprints.
Yeah,
This was
thanks.
so fun. I really just had a blast talking to you all.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Thanks for
This is a
joining.
great group.
The Mouse
And
Trap
then
is a great one. Just
We
saying.
will have a discussion on the vampire at the end of the month. I don't remember what day. Does anyone know what
I think the 27th. Does that
27th.
sound right?
That sounds
right.
right. Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds right. So we're gonna have a
Yeah,
discussion
27th.
about the vampire and maybe about Twilight.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And whatever else anyone else read for the Legendary Readathon, like just let us know what you read and how you liked it. And then the 28th in the evening we're gonna do a Twilight watch along if anyone wants to do it with us. And I think that'll be
Victoria's
that'll
Discord.
be in my and yeah, it'll be fine.
Which is linked down below, right?
Nothing is linked down below right now.
You
I
find
can put it in there. I can link it.
Down for video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will fix that. But thanks, Anne, for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks for everyone who read along with us.
Yes, it's fun.
And thank you, Victoria, for hosting.
Of course, this was so fun. I hope everybody has a good rest of their weekend.
Thanks.
Yes.
You too. See you later.
Thanks. You.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.